featuring Jake from State Farm. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Colton, BearScareBeauty, back again. Yeah, it's like 96 in my apartment again. I am sweltering right now. I am greasy. I am oily. I've been off work for 20 minutes and I'm hot. Yeah, I mean, I'm just phoning it in because whatever, you know, this is my YouTube channel and I'm just gonna do really whatever I want. I'm gonna do something fun today. This is not my idea. I've seen like Robert Walsh do this, Loie Lane do this, and I love it when they do this. I'm just gonna be reading some horror stories and doing some makeup. And I kind of wanted to do like a fun face melt look. Not like the one that I did in the past where I used the FX gel and kind of like melted my face, but like my face is dripping like makeup. So I'm just gonna do that. I moved you forward a little bit. I don't really have a good setup right now because everything is like on that side of the room and my computer's right here. And if you look behind me, it's a nightmare. The point of the video, I mean, you're gonna see me doing the makeup. I'm gonna explain what I'm doing, but I'm also gonna be reading this. It's gonna be some ghost stories and some creepypastas. I'm a big fan of both. I think I'm gonna start out with my actually own ghost story, which I've, if you've seen my videos, experienced on this channel. I swear to God, in one of my last videos, you can hear something that wasn't there. That's a little weird. Anyways, so I'm going to start with the Benefit Professional, and I'm just going to be taking this, smearing it in, hitting the T-zone, because I am very oily right now. Also, if you can hear a fan running in the background, I don't care. It is so hot right now. Me filming was an absolute mistake tonight. I don't use this that much anymore. This is the Stila Stay All Day Foundation. It's in the shade Bare 1, because it has like a little press down disc. I'm gonna bounce a Beauty Blender, Real Technique sponge, excuse me, brand deal. So, where to begin with my own ghost story? Well, I haven't lived in this apartment. Well, no, I guess I've lived here for 5 years now. Previously, my roommates lived here longer than I have. I actually moved in after his previous roommate left. You know, not much has happened. There's not like a general creepy feeling or anything like that. Nothing that would make anybody think like, oh, this apartment's haunted, or, you know, it just feels like a regular apartment. One day, when Twin Peaks Season 3 got announced, me and my roommate decided to rewatch Twin Peaks Seasons 1 and 2. So we were rewatching Twin Peaks Seasons 1 and 2, as you do. Dale Cooper, gotta love him. Just randomly, in one of the episodes, we heard what sounded like a chain dropping? Or bouncing, if that makes sense. Obviously, we were like, what the fuck? We don't have any chains. There was nothing in, like, the sink that would have dropped. We both thought, oh, it's the cat. But the cat was sitting on her little cat perch in the living room with us, and she was staring down the hallway like she just saw a demon. Like, she was freaked out, ears back, tail up, like just Halloween kitty hunched. We're like, oh, that's weird. We go back into our rooms, look around. Nothing's fallen, you know, there's nothing on the ground. And I mean, I'm not the most tidy person in the world, but like there's a sheet which I had up for, you know, because I was testing a new background earlier, and some boots on the ground right now, right? So like there's nothing really out of place or in disarray. So we thought that was really weird. Anyways, ignored it. Went back to watching Twin Peaks. And just as time has gone on, things have just ramped up and up. We have, heard people talking in the apartment. Now, we have relatively soundproof apartments, and when the neighbors are talking, you can hear the neighbors talking, right? This isn't neighbors talking. This is somebody, like, in the next room murmuring, which is weird because we'll be alone, or, you know, we'll both be in the same room, things like that. Very weird. Once again, nothing threatening, just weird, creepy stuff. Then it's gotten to the point to where we have both seen something. One day, I was off work. Me and my roommate work pretty opposite schedules. So he goes to work at about 3 in the afternoon, doesn't get home until 6 in the morning some days, right? It's about 10 at night. He's not home, obviously. It's my day off. I'm home. I'm sitting in my room. And I hear what sounds like the door open and close, our front door. It's like, oh, weird, he must be home, okay. Don't really hear anything after that, so I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. I turn to look, and I see a shadow pass my doorway and go into his room. And it just didn't feel right. right? So I get up and I go, hey, you home? Don't hear anything. Walk into his room, no one's there. And that happens pretty repeatedly. We'll see people walking down the hallway, we'll see people in the kitchen or out on our balcony. But once again, it doesn't feel threatening or angry, and it's not like a full-bodied apparition, it's like a shadow. Not necessarily out of the corner of your eye, because you'll look at it, and then you realize it's a shadow, and then it just kind of dissolves, right? Anyways, that's my ghost story. We call her Laura Palmer. Now that the base is done, alright, this story is entitled, The First Time I Ever Truly Freaked Out. I'm going to start on shaping my eye. I'm just going to take some white concealer, and I'm going to start drawing, like, the whites of my eye, right? That will have been melted. I've just decided that I'm going to voice over this, so I'm going to be, like, engaged with the camera, and then I'm going to voice over the story as I'm working. For about 12 years now, I've been a collector of antique mourning items from the mid to late Victorian era. Heirlooms, framed hair art, mourning pins, casket plaques, etc. I've had my fair share of unexplainable experiences, weird dreams, things moving, and other things that would have been considered paranormal encounters. The more you experience these things, the easier it is to become desensitized to some strange things when they happen. That being said, I recently bought a new antique hairpiece about a couple of months ago. I started to notice some unusual things happening around the house. I thought nothing of it, so I'd always brush it off as just another spirit keeping to itself. But 2 nights ago, something happened to me that left my heart racing, with a fight or flight feeling that I hated. I will never forget it. I live in a small condo in the largest city in my country, and can sleep through pretty much anything. I'm used to hearing loud city nightlife through my window. Nothing wakes me. I woke up around 3 in the morning from a tapping sound on my metal bed frame, accompanied with the most unsettling feeling, almost like I was being watched. My boyfriend was fast asleep beside me, and just knowing he was beside me definitely calmed me down a little bit, so I tried to go back to sleep. Now, before I explain what happened, I'll tell you that I keep all my funeral antiques in a glass case or hanging from a wall in a certain corner of my apartment besides a lamp, and some of my boyfriend's antique musical instruments. About 15 minutes passed, and then I suddenly heard a loud bang on the antique drum that he owned, as if someone had just taken their hand and slapped it down with full force. It has a very distinct and unique sound, so I knew right away what that sound was, followed by the lamp crashing to the floor. Our bedroom door was shut and the handle began to slowly turn, side to side. It woke both of us up, and suddenly everything stopped. We have no pets for the time being, so at first we thought someone was in our apartment. Then we both took out our phones and communicated with each other via text. Just in case somebody was really in here, we didn't want them to hear what we were saying. In short, we planned an escape for the worst case scenario. Crime is definitely not a rare occurrence where I live, so we really wouldn't be surprised if there was a break-in at this point. On the count of 3, we both opened our bedroom door and checked the entire apartment from top to bottom, behind doors and closets and corners you could theoretically hide in. Our apartment's incredibly small, so it would have had to have been impossible for somebody to jump from one hiding spot to the other without getting caught. The front door was locked, and the lock is noisy, so we would have heard it being tampered with if somebody had come in and locked it behind them. Absolutely no one was in our apartment that night. It sends chills up my spine just thinking about it. That story was brought to you by Tomb Lilies, r/ghost stories on Reddit. Perfect. I fucking hate myself. Perfect! Really does feel like my eyes are melting. Goddamn. Okay. I'm gonna take an absolute flat white shadow, and I'm just going to kind of set that concealer. Now that that's all set, I'm going to kind of outline, and I'm gonna do like an eye look too, but it's gonna be melty, right? This is a Lorac liner, It's just one of the smaller travel-sized ones. And I'm going to gently outline my eye. Nix proof it, wish. So this is going to be interesting because it doesn't have to be symmetrical. It can just kind of be whatever I want it to be. So I think I want it to be like, I'm going to start with E1 on a little detailing brush. This next story is brought to you by The Right Decision, r/go stories on Reddit. This got removed in r/paranormal, but I wanted to share it somewhere, so here we go. This is a culmination of stories that have happened to my family and I. Lots of histories and secrets are hidden in those hills, and with those comes some paranormal happenings too. Since I have lots of stories, I'll break it into parts to digest easier, if people are interested. In the early 70s, my dad was about 8 years old and shares a bedroom and a mobile home with my uncle, his younger brother. My grandparents were in the middle of renovating and adding on to their home, so in the meantime they got a small trailer, parked it in the backyard, and lived in that. My dad and uncle's room was just big enough to fit the two of them. There wasn't much space to go around, especially near their beds. It was cramped to say the least. But they made the most of the short-term situation. One night my dad is fast asleep when he wakes up suddenly. He's laying on his side and half groggily rolls over. As soon as he's facing the other direction, he's face to face with the disembodied head of a man. The man has long, shaggy hair and an equally scraggly beard, and is wearing an old prospector's hat. Think Stinky Pete from Toy Story style hat. He's inches away from my dad's face, and even if it was just some guy that broke in, there's no way he could have crammed his body into the small space between the bed and the wall to top it off. He had a grin on his face, like he knows he's scaring my dad. Like any kid when they're scared, my dad pulls the cover over his head and rolls back over, all the while praying feverishly for this man to go away. After a minute passes, he turns back over to see if he's still there. He is, still smiling. He jerks the blankets over his head again and waits for him to leave. The second time he's gone. He looks over at my uncle who's fast asleep. He told my grandpa about it later, and I'm not sure if he believed him or not. Another interesting detail in a new part of my grandparents' house, the part they were renovating and building, is actually carved into a hill. While they're digging and putting in frames, one of the men found a human arm boned. My grandpa was disturbed, but knowing our town's history, it used to be a Wild West mining town with gunfights, bar brawls, and people who mysteriously turned up missing, he wasn't really surprised. They placed it in a box on top of a cabinet, and Grandpa gave strict orders for no one to touch it. He planned on taking it to the police station the next day. When they went to grab the box the following morning, it had vanished. Everybody swears up and down they didn't touch it. My grandpa can be an intimidating man, so I'm sure he put the pressure on the workers to fess up if they moved it. They never found the box, or any other bones. Flash forward to a few years back, we lived about 50 yards from my grandparents at that time. Between our house and theirs, there was a garden, my aunt's yard, and a little ditch space with an old fence/metal debris before going up to their backyard. When we would go back and forth from our place to theirs, we would cut through the back this way. One Christmas night, I was walking back from their house. I remember it was pretty dark and the ground was covered in snow, so it was hard to see where I was stepping. When I got to the ditch, my foot got caught on a piece of metal fencing sticking up. I stumbled a little and fell down, and when I did, I heard a man's laugh coming from behind me. I assumed it was my dad following me back. I don't know why I didn't look around. I just dusted the snow off my pants and kept going. I walked in the house and held the door open behind me, thinking my dad wasn't too far behind. Imagine my shock when he was sitting square at his computer in his pajamas. "How did you do that?" "Think you're pretty funny?" I asked. "What are you talking about?" he replied with a confused look. "I just tripped over the fence between Grandma and Grandpa's and you laughed at me. How did you get here so fast?" "I've been here for 20 minutes, he said. "I haven't been out in a while." I blinked at him, processing what he was saying. Then I told him about the laugh that I heard. That's when he told me about the prospector man that he saw, and we connected the dots. Nothing has happened since then, but I guess that man has not only been seen in our grandparents' new house, but in our neighbor's house down the street. The neighbor's house used to be an old hospital, so I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but it's eerie nonetheless. And as we can see right here, ladies and gentlemen, the woes of having ultra hooded eyes, but honestly, for a look like this, I don't really think it matters. You know? I'm going to make like a little blue down here so it kind of looks like my eyes are going with it. I'm going to be using a black liquid liner, and I'm going to try to find like where my eye is, my iris. This is hard to look at the camera and do at the same time. And this next story is entitled Family Ghost by That Creepy Guy with 2 3s on r/Ghost Stories. Family Ghost. Ghost attached to me or my family. So this is a pretty long one. Bear with me. My whole life, my family's had very odd occurrences in our lives with ghosts. So much that my dad started to believe in ghosts. The first story, I was around the age of 5, and my dad would come home to me talking to myself in the living room in the dark. He asked me what I was doing, and I said I was talking to my friend. My dad tells me there's no one there, and apparently I just started crying and wouldn't leave his side. After a few years pass, everything has been quiet. I'm in high school. My parents buy a really old antique mirror from Charleston. My whole family starts having experiences. Nothing too extreme and very playful, to the point where we nicknamed the ghost The Boy. He would come into my parents' rooms at night and tug on their feet and run out. My dad would think it was my little brother. We can hear the sounds of a little kid running around late at night, and we just start to live with it and ignore it. It becomes the family joke and story. Fast forward a few more years, I'm in the army and I'm at home on leave. I'm sleeping in my high school room with my boyfriend of 3 years, and I've never felt such a sense of hatred directed at me until I came back home. It felt like so much negative energy was thrown at me and my boyfriend. My boyfriend even hates to go into my house anymore. Fast forward to now, we're in an apartment 30 minutes away from my dad's house. We're starting to notice things here, like someone watching us or something messing with our pets. I'm thinking about going to a medium, but I don't know if that's a bad idea or not. I look hideous. Yeah, well, he's a guy, so. What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm? Ooh, I think I'm gonna go with like a nice, easy nude. I'm gonna use Times Square by ColourPop, because I always forget these aren't scented, and it always freaks me out. I like it, so. Did I just do my lip line properly? Oh my god. The makeup gods are like, you get 1 win. You get 1. We're gonna melt my mouth, because obviously. Yeah, get it in that hair. The look that I just like nail my lip line on instantly is the one that it just doesn't matter. You know, I am going to contour just a little bit because I feel like there's a lot going on my face, but not enough. Taking the ABH contour palette, taking a dagger brush, and this is actually for special effect, and I'm just gonna... And then yeah, just kind of like a blah. And yes, I'm going to blend it out. I'm not just going to leave it like this. I'm not that crazy. Remember, blend your contour up. Why am I just nailing all of the things that I usually can't nail on myself? Nose contour, nailed it. Lip line, nailed it. But on this... Oh my god. I just stopped and looked at myself in the viewfinder. Holy fuck. Wow. I did something. I'm just straight up dipping in with the sponge. And I'm really gonna go in on the contour. I'm giving myself some theatrical cheekbones and everything. And voila!
See you in hell, kids!
Well, hey, thanks you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this format of video. Like I said, it's going to be mostly voiceover. I'll probably change my setup around so I can be reading while doing makeup. That's a little harder, though, because I'm usually trying to start doing special effects stuff, so it's a little more involved. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, BearScareBeauty, same way it's spelled here. Watch my other videos, it'd mean a lot. And subscribe, that would also mean a hell of a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you guys so much. Bye.